boxing as a whole. It is sad that the GBA president wrote to a promoter and flagship boxer with international repute, banning them indefinitely from undertaking boxing activities simply by citing disrespect as a yardstick. How can disrespect be measured? Which instrument can anyone use in a constitutional space to measure disrespect before giving the highest punishment to a major player, someone who is actually bidding to give us a world title? Anyway, I'm sure that they have their own ways that they are going to seek redress, and at the right time, I'm sure that they will call on you as well to hear them out. We think it is harsh, a decision by the GBA, and again, we wrote officially to the GBA, but no reply has been sent to us. It is also unbelievable that the Boxing Promoters Association of Ghana is being denied the right to seek information on official fees to pay. Now, we wrote to the GBA asking for some information, which includes the official fees as we are supposed to pay today. We are hearing unofficially of increases in fees. And the only way we can have this certified is to write to a regulator. Now, the regulator denies us, as we see today, of getting this particular information. And yet, we send a press release out that we have not renewed our licenses. Now, what kind of logic is this? We think that Mr. Abraham Kotai Nikwe is becoming a dictator as a president of the GBA. He's refusing to understand that there's a constitution that brought him to power. And in that constitution, everybody has been given certain liberties to enjoy. We are calling on him at this press conference to kindly desist from that level of bravado that he's showing. We don't need to engage him on that level. But we have, as we've been doing, officially, diplomatically been writing letters. It is our first action, and it's a press conference. If he's going to push us further, we would actually have to press on the knobs, or we will have to use whatever avenues are open to us to make sure that it's either removed or it starts to conform to the provisions of our constitution. Now, let me say that the GB and the elected president have decided to be a player and a regulator at the same time in the area of promotion, and must be impressed upon to stand down immediately. And thus, the GB and the president must conform to established protocols and provisions of the GBA constitution in this regard. Finally, let me say that we are picking intelligence that the GBA president is preparing a committee on the blind side of industry players to change the constitution to suit his self-seeking motives. If this is true, then we are calling on the National Sports Authority to come to the rescue of boxing in Ghana by addressing all the issues outlined and even others more serious that we intend to petition relevant stakeholders. Ladies and gentlemen, this forms the core of why we invited you today. But I can say that we have able leadership on my left and right to take your questions on the matters raised. Thank you all very much for coming.
On these issues raised.
All right.
Now you want to organize the press conference. That's question number one.
You want to talk?
Question number two, on the league. The executive or the president, the operation of this league and its
benefits
for everybody, including the promoters, who also have the liberty to go up with their fight as and when they need it for them. And now in your presentation, you are telling us that they are doing this to block the opportunities for other promoters. How is that the case? Because the league, we understand, is twice a month. The rest of the days are still there. And even in boxing, there's no rule anywhere that there cannot be 2, 3, 4 promotions in a country. Yeah. So how is that going to affect your business? I won't answer for this one before.
All right, thank you so much. Very valid questions. The very first one, you are asking how we have properly engaged the GBA. I think our secretary is here. Immediately we were elected, a letter on all the concerns were sent out to the GBA. And since then, we have tried to talk to the GBA to at least give us an official stance. Now, what are some of the things we asked for? I think it should be clear some of the things we asked for. One, we asked for the constitution and the makeup of the board as we have today. The constitution gives a particular number that you can co-opt onto the board. And then they are elected members. From what we are hearing, there are certain people serving in capacities. We could have taken it out, but we didn't. Then we also engaged on fees. How much are we supposed to pay? Because we are hearing from unofficial circles that there have been increments. The next thing we heard recently is a press release. Starmers and inactive promoters somewhere. And if this stage forward, I'm sure.
Thank you very much, Peter, for your question. That the GBA president has explained many times on different platforms about how the professional boxing league, Ghana Professional Boxing League, is going to benefit all stakeholders, including promoters. Okay. With this Ghana Professional Boxing League, there was no consultation or whatsoever with regards to managers and promoters. There was no broad consultation of the stakeholder groups. How it affects the ecosystem of boxing negatively is what I'm about to tell you. The boxing is being run as a league, and the league, the gyms are to register, or the clubs are to register for the league. There is no categorization of boxer A, B, or C in terms of their levels. And you could see that a debutant or a first-time boxer has been matched against an established boxer or more experienced boxer, of which, in a case, a boxer who was a former WBO African champion and former ranked boxer is to fight against a boxer who is just starting. Yes, there are certain instances that could happen, but in a way, when you have a boxer like an Olympian or somebody who has got a very good amateur background to take that kind of fight, but it's more or less like killing talents, because the fresh boxers are to fight against the established ones or the more experienced ones. And the more experienced ones, per the requirement of the sanctioning bodies like the IBF, WBO, WBC, and all what have you, before you can fight for international title, you should have at least 2 or 3 of your last fights as a win, and not less than 8 rounder. It's supposed to be 8 rounder or more. But this league is being run for 6 rounds, and so even if the established boxer wins against the debutant, he cannot get a chance to fight for international titles. Also, the up-and-coming boxers, they are paired against experienced boxers. If they could have gotten their own level boxers, that is how you can, nurture talent. And when the Team Boxing League was done, we have Joseph Agbeko, Anyete Lais, Malik Jabez, and all that stuff. But they were established boxers as at that time. They were not part of it. It was just the up-and-coming boxers that were used for the league. But that one too, there was a problem, because media houses are not granted a promotional license anywhere in the world when it comes to boxing, because they partner with promoters to be able to, push the boxing forward. If the media houses take licenses, then they are getting the promoters out of business. One thing is this: there is no rule, as you said, by the GBA, that if one promoter is promoting today, another promoter cannot promote. But in this case, even the dates that our members have taken already, like KBOX and Ace Power Promotion, have taken already, because the IMAX league was shifted from the first date or second date to a new date. The GBA wrote officially to them that they're supposed to change their date because it will be affected by the league. Where in any part of the world this is done. Meanwhile, the people have signed, because you know when you are to promote boxing, you cannot just wake up and promote it. You plan ahead. You send contract to boxers for them to sign. You give some of them, you have to give them training allowances for them to train. And then even venues, you have to book in advance. And all other things you have to book in advance. Sometimes you have sponsors who want to choose a particular date for a particular reason before supporting you. And these are some of the things that we are asking, that if the GBA doesn't do their things well, it's going to affect the ecosystem of boxing. So your case, your question of how does it affect promoters? Because of this league, our members' dates are being taken from them, that they cannot promote on those dates. And they have been served with letters that they should change their dates because it has been affected by someone's promotion. And GBA should be a regulator, not a player. If now the name Ghana Professional Boxing League is national in nature, and is being given to one, the right has been given to just one promoter, which is IMAX Media Group. And GBA is supporting them around to take sponsorship to whatever. And even the GBA are recruiting boxers for them. It's a goodwill. It's more or less like GBA working for a regulator, working for a player. And you cannot leave all these promoters and work with this one person. One thing that I want to bring to your notice: when you win a national championship belt, you need to have 6 months to have a mandatory challenge or mandatory defense. It was carved in the way that by the 6 months, as a promoter, if your boxer wins, you can even have a voluntary defense for him, maybe within 3 months. And then the next 3 months, if there is a ready mandatory challenger, then you fight against the mandatory challenger. Today, the GBA has taken decision that the 6 months should be reduced to 4 months. Per my inquiries, they say, oh, now we have dates with IMAS. And so if you have a boxer and it's a national title and you are not organizing, you can bring it on IMAS promotion. So it's a way to, push people to bring their fights on IMAS, to create content for them. And that is worrisome for us as promoters. So today you cannot plan for an event. If you plan today and IMAS decide to change their dates, or out of technicality they have to shift their dates, then you have no date. These are some of the things that are worrisome to us. Then in terms of the fees, there are rumors that the fees have been increased over 300%. We are just coming from COVID. It's very hard even to get by with sponsors, and we are coming out from COVID. What informed the decision of the increment?
Intentional.
It was intentional because the GBA want to get the promoters out of the business so that they can connive with IMAS to monopolize the promotional space. And this is worrisome for promoters because we have held the fort for boxing in Ghana. Some of us, we have deep down to our pockets to be able to push boxing to this level so that in future a sponsor or a media company can come in. And so when today a media company have seen that boxing is good and they want to have some part of the cake to enjoy, I don't think the GBA should take all the cake and give it to that media house. So this is our concern. And anytime that you say, like you said about dialogue, we are always open to make things to address things in a civil manner, to write to the GBA And, letters sending to the GBA were thrown out by the president. Even this morning, as I'm speaking to you, we wrote to the GBA to request for the fees, because we've heard rumors about the increment of the fees. There has never been any circular anywhere. You can check the facts. There has never been any stakeholder engagement concerning the fees increment. But it was all rumors that we heard. So we wrote officially to the GBA to give us these informations. Until date, about over 2 weeks now, we've not heard anything from the GBA. All we could see is the GBA to give out press release about people who have not, players who have not paid their licenses, and they have categorically stated people who are in good standing, including IMAS, in a way to throw dust into people's eye, so that even when we are going for sponsorship, people will not take us serious. In this case, because we've not gotten the fees, we assume that the old fees are still in force. And so some of us, even if you go to the GBA today to do transaction, if the president is not there, you cannot do any transaction. Per the GBA constitution, the secretary, the general secretary, is the head of the secretariat. He runs the day-to-day affairs of the GBA. Today, when you go there, I went there yesterday to pay to renew my license, and I was told by the acting secretary general that the receipt has been locked in the president's office, and so he cannot do. He has no jurisdiction over those things. He has no power over those things, so he cannot do anything for me. For me to see that they have given out a press release, putting us as people who are not in good standing. So I went to the bank this morning to pay into the GBA account and deposited the receipts to an official at the GBA office. And to my surprise, I learned the president took the receipts and he threw the receipts out from the office. And he went to the bank, the ADB, where money. And I requested that they put on paper that this is the instruction that the president has given out. So as by the GBA rules, if you pay if you are already a licensee and you pay your license, you are assumed to have renewed your license. So I have paid and I have renewed my license. So these are some of the things that are worrisome to us. There are certain things that we have kept under our sleeves that we don't want it to come to public. We've tried all civil way and manner to engage the president of the Ghana Boxing Authority, because some of us, we even campaigned for him to win this position, but he's not ready to come to our level to have a dialogue. And we have no option than to take this step. And we have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have when you were talking, I was seeing a challenge, and you somehow mentioned something little about it at the end. But I still see a problem somewhere. I don't notice in Afghanistan. I'm seeing that too clearly, and I don't know how it works. You went to the place to pay your bill, and they said that you see that the book has been locked in the safe in the president's office. If there is no problem existing already, why didn't you go the second time at the point that you meet the president in the office to make the payments that you were going to make the other day? Just going to the bank. It looks like there is Tiger and the Hyena that is something that I have seen. And if personally, if we should go on that tangent, it's not going to help the industry that we all cherish, we all love, we all want to go. So I want us to get a better clarification as to why the new executive even pay the what you have put out at this meeting means after your election, there has not been any formal meeting between you and the GBA to introduce yourself even to the GBA board that, oh, now we have reconstituted the executive of the promoters and this is it and these are what we want to do.
Mr. Rato, I'm not interjecting, but what I have to tell you is this. We are not new people that are not known by the GBA executive board. We are licensees who are actively running boxing in Ghana as promoters. When there was the election, all the members that wrote to him, we went to the Congress and we were active in the Congress. We voted. Not new members. We are not new licensees. And we also requested for a meeting from the GBA to meet the GBA. Even if we have to show ourselves to the GBA, we cannot just pop up there and say, oh, these are the executive of the Promoters Association. We wrote to the GBA and we have to meet them if we are even to introduce ourselves to them. So if we have requested to meet you to dialogue and you are not giving us the platform, what else can we do? Secondly, per the GBA rules and per the GBA constitution, the president has nothing to do at the office to run the day-to-day affairs of the GBA. He's the Secretary General who is the head of the Secretariat. So if I go to the office and the secretary told me I cannot pay because the receipts are not with him. Yes, we have the GBA accounts and we have been doing business with the GBA, not today. And so if I've deposited into the GBA's account and I've brought the receipt, because if I cannot get a receipt, written receipt, and I've paid in the bank with the receipt, do you think it's proper that the receipt has to be thrown out? And even to go to the bank to instruct the bankers that they should reverse the money? Why is this done in anywhere in the world?
I wish to add.
That's the reason why we are addressing this problem. That's why we are here.
I wish to add before we come in. Now,
there's a problem. That's the reason why we are here.
The thing is, Mr. Alex Ntiamwa is not new to boxing. He is a powerhouse when it comes to boxing. And the GBA must be the first to recognize him as a key player. So if even him, because of an arrangement of a league, is being given this hostile reception, what happens to others who are now even learning the trade of promotions? And you should be concerned as a press person, because when we have finally arrogated the whole space by way of a Ghana boxing, professional boxing league to somebody, and everyone else has been told, go and rest because now we have $1 million. Tomorrow when it fails, there's no boxing in Ghana. We should all be concerned. And if anybody will enjoy on the legacy that somebody like him has built, we should actually look for somebody who has contributed to goodwill. Why should somebody all of a sudden pop out from somewhere, use our goodwill to go to corporate Ghana? And there's a letter that says that we are rather not in right standing. Who will deal with you if you are not in right standing? You should understand the politics. You should know what is going on. When you are taken out of business, the space is open for whoever to take advantage of. That is what we're trying to stop. Because the investment that has been put in, you don't understand. Nobody in Ghana has benefited by way of promotion. Ask anybody, they lose. Hoping that one day they will get to the world stage so that they can get their money. So somebody walks in today and is destroying that very foundation that you are standing on. And you say we should just keep quiet. Watch. Because somebody has said, I'm giving $1 million. What is $1 million? We could get to a point where one boxer will give us 250 million if we can produce a world champion.
How much is going to the boxers?
600 cedis to a boxer. That's how much the GBA is paying to them. And the boxers will soon get angry and not fight. So it might fail. And when it fails, then we who were relegated, the rejected cornerstones, then there will be stakeholder meetings. Afe no koi. Yeba, let's do it together. Then we rebuild again. This is the time, sir. This is the time.
Thank you very much. I want to know how much is the renewal fee. And what is the percentage?
From where we sit, we don't know because we have requested information. He paid the old one.
How much did he pay?
The renewal fee is 500 cedis for the renewal.
They are increasing it to 300%.
They
Yes,
want
that's what we heard
What
about.
about the new person coming in?
You know, we don't know. For me, sometime many years back, when I paid my license, it was just some small money because 14 years ago that I had my license. But at a point in time, it was increased. But the margin was reasonable. But as we are coming from COVID, where sponsors are asked to come back for you to pay 300%, that is nothing to write home about.
So when have you started paying this 500? What?
Oh, it's about 4 years now. The last 4 years, we started paying that. And what I heard about even the managers fee has been increased about 600% or more.
Reported. We don't know if
Reported. Because the managers were paying the renewal fee about 200 cedis or so. And now it's purported to be around 2,000 Ghana cedis, about 1,000%.
over the education.
Even if you go to Nevada, even if you go to Nevada Athletic Commission, where multi-million-dollar business is being done in boxing there, the license of manager is just $100. And we are hearing rumors that it has been increased from the renewal from 2,200 cedis to 2,000 cedis. Coming from COVID, where is this done? And when you talk,
500 cities or 200?
no, the 200 cedis, that's the manager's license, from 200 cedis renewal fee to 2,000 Ghana cedis. Let me explain the reason why we are saying this thing will support the ecosystem of boxing. Let me explain something deeper to you. Most of the boxing gyms are within the areas where income of the people are very low. And so you have people who are friends, family members who support them even with 50 cedis, 80 cedis a week. And that some of the boxers, that are their motivation to be in the gym. Because even in the morning they will go and hustle somewhere to get something small. But in the evening they couldn't get that. So the small support that they are getting from their friends or families to act as managers for them is what motivates them to be in the gym. Today, if I'm one of the low-income guys, paying like 80 cedis a week to a boxer to motivate him to fight, it's only those people that can can keep these boys in the gym for them to come and fight to showcase their talents. That maybe a big businessman could see the talent, say, oh, this guy has got a talent, who are his handlers, so that I can get to them to talk, then I can take over as a manager to give him a bigger platform. At least these people need to get license to protect themselves from their trade, because at the end of the day, if they don't have license, they cannot even go to the GBA to negotiate when a new person is coming to take over from them, their boxes. So at least they also need to have licenses. But if you are coming to push the license from 200 cedis renewal to 2,000, even it's never paid in Nevada Athletic Commission, where a multi-million boxing is being done all the time. So that is the reason why we are saying these are some of the effects of the partnership of the GBA and IMAX, because they believe they have gotten somebody who can take 20 days in a year, can have signed something for 5 years. So if you say you can't do, you can go. We have somebody that can do it. And even the 1.3 million or 1.7 million that was mentioned as the deal, how much is going to the boxers?
600.
GBA has been complaining of exodus of boxers going out there to take fights unprepared. And the boxers are being paid 600 cedis. So do you want to tell me if I'm collecting money less than $100 and somebody is offering me $1,000 or $5,000, I should leave the $1,000 and $5,000 to fight for that $600, 600 Ghana cedis? No way. What we believe GBA should have done is this. IMAS is a broadcaster, and anywhere in the world, the broadcasters partner with promoters who know the trade, because boxing, you need to build boxes. They will not just give platform for people to fight, to become world champions or to build them. We all could see how we have raised some of the boys. For example, like Alfred Lamptey, just 2.5 years ago, 17-year-old boy. You need to get in all the right fights to be able to build him. Boxing will build stars. It's unlike you bring them together and then they start fighting and then you can get a world champion. When Kome started and they started preparing him, there were a lot of fighters around, but he has to be protected against them before and build at a certain point before he can come back to win against those boxers. And so you cannot just say you're giving a platform for people to fight and then you can raise the next generation of world champions. And that is the concern that we are all asking. We are open, if today GBA is open to call us, to sit down, to judge or to make sure things are right, we are okay. But we've tried every possible means and we have no option. We are not comfortable sitting here to organize press conference like this because it's a sport that we all love and we don't want bad name for our sport in the media space. But we have no option than to save boxing now. And that's the reason this press conference is necessary for us to have. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, just to add a little to what the President said, I'll play an audio of the President trying to explain how much boxers will earn on this. When it gets to the tail end, you understand that there's no plan. There's a lot of confusion in the minds of the GBA themselves. And they are putting propaganda using the word development. When you are president and you are voted for, development is a continuous thing. Someone has taken it from a point to where you find it. You don't rubbish the person completely and call yourself a savior. So you have come to save boxing. Those who have been investing dollars to get boxers to give it a name and a brand are as important as somebody who shows you 1.7 million.
And it's no money.
It is absolutely no money. Because if we do the right thing, we will build boxing to a point where we can actually get $100 million from one boxer. Heavyweight. So why should we all of a sudden allow somebody to drag us all into a ditch because he says that he has been able to negotiate for? He's a bad negotiator. He must be taught how to negotiate for an industry and not for his self-seeking self. He is actually getting it wrong. There are players who have actually made it possible for him to be president. Counting on him that will go for before he can have a license. Where is that 80 cedis to give to that boy when he pays the 2,000? We are going to kill boxing just by one stroke of a pen, signing. And that is irresponsible on the part of the GBA. It must be told, we should stop this playing with it. And we all sit down, things happen. Then later we'll now call for meeting. We'll call for conferences, stakeholder what and all of that. That is where we are headed. And he's done a good job of using the word development. It is empty. He's not developing anything. He's taking us back because of 1.7 million that he has had. It is no money. Mr. Kote, $1.7 million where boxing, Ghana boxing has got into is nothing. Thank you. All right, I'll play the audio. Maybe you understand how he explains how big support is given to the boxers from his own words. Yes, I can send it to you. So from here, we'll send you the lectures that we sent to them. We'll send you the press. We'll send you the press releases that came from them from us. We'll send you all the evidence. They can look at it and see where we are going. Let us not sit here and be pretending. One day we kill it and then we say now we are restarting. Restarting from where? And please, nobody has a problem with Mr. Kote. We are talking about boxing. He doesn't own boxing. Nobody. Nobody. It's not his personal property. I came into boxing from an events point of view, and I see potential. And today you tell me my license is nothing. And somebody by way of branding has been given the whole space, both local and international, to go for money. What did we work for? For Mr. Kote. Allow me to pour out. It's important. That's why we called you.
Hello, please, I want to ask, on Saturday we are
It's not that loud, okay?
some of us
Can I have
witnessed
Jack, audio?
a show that was cancelled on Saturday. Could the above things listed, the reasons why the show was cancelled. So I just wanted to inquire if there are going to be shows by promoters which are going to always be cancelled by the GBA, because looking at all that is happening, it is the boxers who are going to attend. So
it's
this
just
is
the beginning.
what I wanted to ask.
All right, it's the beginning, as we're saying. So let's President address you on that.
Actually, I'm not much privy about what happened for the show to be cancelled. But one thing we know is that GBA has rules and regulations for promotions. So if you don't follow the rules and regulations, it might happen that most of the fights were cancelled and it was left with one fight. You know, sometimes there are circumstances that would replace it. But sometimes GBA will, with this new GBA, it has happened to some of the members. You understand? But as now, with my information, as I'm speaking to you now, even the fight that is coming on by the Ghana Professional Boxing League on Saturday, they have not, the boxers have not signed any contract. Per my investigations, they have not signed any contract. So even if you go into the ring and fight against somebody and something happens, what will you say? But today, if I'm having a promotion and I've not sent contracts in time, I will have my my promotions cancelled. So that is the reason why we are saying the partnership of the GBA with IMAX is more or less like a romance, and it's like a player, a regulator turn itself to the player, and these are some of the things that.
Because of 1.7 million.
Because of 1.7 million.
Yeah, because of 1.7 million.
You know, it's not a cash too. If there is a cash $1.7 million and the boxers are being paid less than $100 on the show, then I think it's a very shameful action by the GB.
Okay. My last question. In your presentation, you mentioned about sanction against the manager or promoter. And you mentioned one aspect of the reasons why that sanction was meted out. And the information that I have seen, the action of GBA was premised on the fact that there's insubordination and refusal to honor statutory obligatory from a manager or boxer or promoter. The meeting when the issue now, according to sanction people, if they go wish out to get money, but he and his team will not give any money to GBA.
I think your point is made, sir. All right, I'll take it from two angles. The very first one has to do with, for instance, the fees we have been talking about. There is a procedure to follow in increasing fees. Mr. Kote cannot get up all of a sudden, look in people's face and say, you pay 10,000. It is for some of these reasons that the Constitution was written. So where he is not following procedure, and he goes around deceiving people by fee or the board. What you saw on somebody speaking, he was speaking rules. He's not licensed here. But that is for the lawyers of Mr. Marco. And I hear that they also have an action when it comes to UBA president.
Kote Niko's administration, they gave a position to Emmanuel Tego's manager or advisor, Peter Khan, as an executive member for international relations, purposely for him to go to the commissions to seek for that money. But he knows that it cannot work in the US because the boxers are licensed there. There was a time that I was supposed to have a fight that boxers coming from the US to fight on that bill. The GBA wrote to me that they are supposed to be licensed here because when our boxers goes there, they are licensed there. So they are supposed to be licensed here, and they're supposed to pay percentage of their purses here. But they are, when we go to the UK and other places, we send release letters to them. And so when they come, they pay their percentages here. So if a boxer from the UK fighting here, he will not pay any percentage here. He has to go back to his own country to pay. We have a board member of this current GBA whose boxer is a Tanzania, but now has been issued with the Ghanaian license. When he fights, he pays his percentage to Ghana. Even Oluwase is from Nigeria. When he fought the last time on Ace Fire promotion, they paid the percentage to Ghana, to the GBA. And they pay in dollars because he's holding GBA's license. Who the Nigeria Boxing Board of Control sanction him because he has not paid them? Because he's not holding Nigerian license. So that is how it works. So in the first place, GBA has no business to call Amubediaku to come and discuss about Kome's payment. And if Kome has failed to pay something or has said anything wrongly, we don't think it should be Amubediaku should be affected. In no way. We reject. We will not accept any unprintable words that Kome will say in the media to the GBA. We will never accept that. We condemn it in any form. But what we are saying is the GBA has procedures, lay down procedures. People should not use their emotions to make decisions or take decisions, but to follow lay down procedures. Till today, as I'm speaking to you, GBA is supposed to have a lawyer on the board. Till today, there is no lawyer on the board. So I believe these are the reasons some of these things are not handled properly. And if there is a lawyer on the board, he would have advised on certain things and certain actions that need to be taken.
So what is the way forward?
The way forward is, you are a journalist. If you can go out there and lobby him, the president, to accept that he wants to sit with us to discuss. All we want is to have Ghana boxing to flourish, and we have no personal business with personal problem with anybody on the board. We are fighting for our space as players because that is our survival. So we need to protect our survival.
Yeah, you can say, you can wrap up with something. As a lawyer,
Yes.
you can.
Okay,
Final words.
this is from Mr. Amobediaku, watching from the room. He has something to say. He said, this press conference is to introduce the Promoters Association to the press and to air our views as to how the president is running boxing in Ghana. We are all here for the greater good of Ghana boxing, and we can only get that if we have fair and constructive dialogue with all members, including the GBA, and at the moment, this does not seem to be the case. One man is running the GBA as if it is his own personal business. This cannot happen as there is a construction that has to be adhered to. All the rules and regulations must be transparent, and at this present moment in time, they are not so. We are bringing it to the attention of everyone that if it continues in this way, it will destroy Ghana boxing and make us a laughing stock around the world, and our boxers will not be taken seriously. We need to build more champions, and this is not the way. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the president and organizer have spoken well and articulated very clearly our position as the Boxing Promoters Association. Basically, what we seek is the interest of Ghana boxing. We are stakeholders, and we together with the other stakeholders intend for the good and development of Ghana boxing. No one is in any way antagonizing against the other, especially the authority. We wish and want to work well with the authority for the development of Ghana boxing. And so you realize that upon our reconstitution as an executive or as an association, the first attempt was to, by courtesy, send a letter to the GBA informing them of our existence and that the association has been properly reconstituted. And these are the executives. And also, by way of seeking information, we asked humbly to know about some of these fees to help the association to educate its members. For example, license renewals, if somebody wants to acquire new licenses, how much you pay for sanctioning fees, how much you pay for belts, title belts and all that. It is only simple administrative procedure to be able to respond to that letter, even acknowledge receipt. It is just a simple thing. But of course, it is over 3 or 4 weeks now. There has been no response. We followed up with another letter requesting for a meeting. We are wishing and willing to meet the GBA to discuss matters of mutual consent. From that, since the 14th of January, today is 14th February, it's 1 month. There's no response. Members have tried in various ways to at least, to have a dialogue. But unfortunately, there's no response. So if you talk about the fact that maybe there's a problem, I think the problem is not coming from the BPA. If he has a problem, at least we expect that as the leader of the authority, it is even a duty on him to try as much as possible to invite the various stakeholders into a dialogue, because he doesn't want to preside over a chaotic body. It is only in his interest that he gets everybody to understand what he's doing, so that if you are organizing a league or an event whereby the major stakeholders are not even part of, that's very questionable. And if you have even people who are not understanding you, take time. It's not, you don't go to explain that to somebody else. The people you are dealing with are the people you should be involving in your activities. So all we were seeking all this while was to find a common way to help in the development of Ghana boxing. People are investing their life sweat in the development of boxing. But unfortunately, you cannot have one night, we wake up one morning and everything is wiped off. Naturally, they'll protest. And so what this press conference basically was organized for, is to be able to explain our position and to also introduce to Ghana the Boxing Promoters Association, and the people get to know of our existence and know what we do. Because you cannot have boxing, a professional boxing league, or any professional boxing without promoters. All over the world, managers and promoters work for the development of boxing. And the authority is a regulator, which is supposed to be a neutral empire to ensure that all the various stakeholders do the right thing. You cannot have a situation where, in fact, leaders are supposed to be servants of the law. But you can't have a leader who then, arrogates the law to himself or becomes the law himself. It doesn't work like that. You're supposed to rather serve the people. You're supposed to actually get people involved and interpret the law to suit every other person. But when you think that your word of mouth becomes law, that is unfortunate. And that's the situation in which we find ourselves. And that is why, naturally, once you are pushed to the wall, the promoters will react. And we don't want a situation where not only promoters, but other stakeholders will equally start reacting. And at the end of the day, Ghana boxing is going to roll back, years, if not, So, basically, that is just what this press conference was meant to achieve. And again, unfortunately, as you stated, one of the things that we have been confronted with, which it's so unfortunate, is the fact that we have a leader who, even a common dialogue is very difficult to sustain. You can't have a 5-minute discussion with the GBA president. It will break down. Because you have to shut up, he has to speak. When you attempt to engage, then it results in a bust up. And that's unfortunate. These are not, this is not the kind of leader we elected. We elected someone who should work with us, but not to dictate to us. You should listen more and work with us more. And the least thing someone speaks, the threat comes, I will revoke your license if you joke. I will suspend you if you joke. Such power is being abused. And we are calling on him, to tone down, to soberly reflect on his leadership style and help us together work for the interests of Ghana boxing. Nobody hates him. Because after working hours, we go back, become individuals. But as long as he is there as president, he has to learn to know that the office is there to serve the stakeholders. And so he can only work with the stakeholders for the success of Ghana boxing. So let me say thank you to you all for making time to come over for the event. We are looking forward to further dialogue, looking forward to work for the development of Ghana boxing. And so I would just probably give the opportunity to the general, the organizer, to play the audio that he had initially indicated that he would play for you to hear for yourself. Yes, it will certainly be sent to you.
It's important. It's very important.
Very well.
I'm playing, so you can play.
So we send it to you.
Yes. So he said he wants to play, so let him play. We are quite enough.
Yeah. So please, I will also entreat you all to please carry our voices out there. It is important to also take a keen interest in the activities of boxing in Ghana. And not only for the promoters and the boxers, but you have a duty as journalists to be able to educate people, to also inform people about the happenings at both, the GBA and the boxing in general. Where's the speaker? Where's the speaker?
You can increase it there. Lawagochi. You can increase the volume there. You see? Maybe my friend. And yeah, ready, man. And yeah, ready. And yeah, you were press conference, but maybe you're not for.
Yeah.
Welcome to ASTV.
Thank you very much.
All right, so tell us, should the GBA president succeed in changing the constitution by the stakeholders like the trainers and the boxers, what would be the fate of GBA?
Actually, I don't think it can be done because per the GBA constitution, we have procedures that we need to go through to change the constitution. And, the constitution is carved in a way that it will protect all stakeholders. So I don't think even the stakeholders will support self-seeking articles that will support one person to have all the powers to do whatever he would like to do. We've been into this industry for a long time. I per se have been into in this industry for the past 14 years, and I understand how it goes and what goes into it. And so we also must campaign to make sure stakeholders understand the terrain very well so that they can make the best choice for themselves and the industry.
Okay, so we also understand that a scaffold in the boxing will affect the boxers. So what should the promoters actually seek for?
No, yes, as you say, when two giants are fighting, it's the two elephants are fighting, it's the grass that suffers. But we trying to be civil in the way that we can still register our displeasure for things to be done properly, whilst we are seeing that we are not stifling the continuous process of promotion in Ghana. Still, we are going on with our promotions. We are not protesting that we are going to back off from promotion, but as we are, this press conference is one of the ways to go about to register our displeasure to the president so that he can come to terms with us to make sure things that needs to be done in conformity with the laid down rules and regulations should be done so that the boxing can have its rightful place.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.